Hello. Hi everyone, welcome. Just letting some people in. And if you've been on the call before, maybe you'll remember what I love is if people pop in the chat where they are coming in from as you come. And I'm just going to fiddle around for another minute while we get people in. We are kicking off week 2 of our Women's Health Summit with wonderful Angela and Jo today. So we've got Crediton and Cambridge. I'm in Totnes. See where other people are coming in from. We've got Rishna coming in from Essex. Hi, my love. Gorgeous. There she is, camera on as well. Very nice. Yeah, it's always lovely to see cameras on. Oh, we've got Stacey coming in from Glasgow. Welcome, Stacey, my love. So I think I'm just gonna kind of get things moving since we're 5 past already. So welcome, my loves, either those of you who are here on the live with us or also those who are going to be joining on the recording. This is week 2 of our Women's Health Summit. So this is a series of presentations that we're offering. We've got 6 in total, and this is our 3rd presentation this evening. So we've already looked at the map of womanhood. We have looked at supporting our menstrual cycle. Today we are taking a deep dive, or as deep as we can in the time that we have, with Jo and Angela into pregnancy and birth and early days of motherhood and also preconception as well. So we've got a lot to cover and yeah, I'm very grateful. Jo is a former midwife, Angela is a nurse. They have a wealth of wisdom between them, and I'm actually not going to take any more time. I'm going to hand over to you guys. I muted you then for a second because I was getting some feedback, so just if you want to go ahead and unmute, and I think
there we go.
Pass you over. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Dot. Thank you. And can I just say, Dot, thank you so much for bringing this together, because it was a spectacular idea, and I know that you've got about 150 people kind of registered and interested in all of this, and I just think it's an absolutely cracking idea, and very well done for putting it together.
Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Are you going to go ahead and share your slides, Jo?
Do you want me to share, or do you want you to? I wasn't certain if you were going to do them.
Oh, no, I thought that you guys could do.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I shall do that. That's fine. Sorry, we're just both waiting there, weren't we?
Oh yeah, I know. It's Jo. There we go. Because then you can just be in the flow with you and Angela.
Yeah, that's great. There we go. Right, can you see that, Dot? Are you okay?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Right, lovely. Okay, so welcome to, as Dot said, the Women's Health Summit. She's done an amazing job of getting this together. We're going to be talking today about preconception, pregnancy, birth, and a small amount beyond. We could go on forever, but we're not going to do that today because we just don't have time. I am Jo. As Dot said, I'm a former midwife. I worked in the NHS for just shy of 14 years. And I left because there's a variety of reasons, but one of the reasons was that I knew that as a women's health advocate, I could reach and support the lives of many more women doing oils and other supportive roles than I ever was able to in the capacity that I had within the NHS. So that's a very, very brief introduction from me. Angela, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dot, and thank you, Jo, for doing this, and Roshna as well. There's been whole behind the scenes work, so thank you to everyone that is helping to put this together and joining us as well. Yeah, my name is Angela. I'm a nurse. I work mainly in long-term conditions. I'm a nurse for more than 15 years as well. And about 4 years ago, I came across doTERRA and Natural Solutions when I was trying to find better solutions for my then baby, which will be 5 tomorrow. So that's exciting. Yeah, and since then I haven't looked back, and I have joined in and used them throughout my second pregnancy before, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. It's how I have combined these into my life in general. Yeah, so we'll start from preconception, really, and then we'll talk about early weeks with the baby as well, and all in between. Right, so I'm going to start by talking a bit about my journey and how I came here. So my first pregnancy was quite straightforward. I didn't have any problems. I conceived very quickly, and yeah, it was all brilliant. And then we were trying to conceive again, and it took us a long time. And then I had a miscarriage, and then again took us a long time. To the point, obviously, you go to doctors and so on, and they all tell you, "Oh, it's normal. It's your age." And I wasn't convinced with that. So in between a lot of things that, obviously I've addressed, nutrition, nervous system, exercise, so on. At this period, I thought there was nothing else I could do. I decided to try something else, which was a protocol using some of the oils and supplements we've got. And then eventually, after this, I managed to conceive. Now, this is not, I must say this, I must disclose this is not medical advice at all. This was my personal experience. And what it consisted was a lot of supplements that pretty much helped me cleanse all my body of toxins, detoxifying, and then balance my hormones as well. But again, balancing everything. This wasn't an isolated thing, and there's no such thing as a magic pill. So yeah, and then so I've got now another baby. He is 7 months old. So I was able then to continue using all of these tools throughout all of this my pregnancy, and then now when is a baby and as newborn. Yeah, so this is just an example of what I've used. But again, I'm not going to go into much detail because this is a protocol actually from a midwife, Stephanie Fritz. And you can look it up, or you can ask for advice from anyone that is here. But yeah, again, this is my experience. So I just wanted to reinforce that. And I think I'm going to pass it to Joe. Oh, no, that's still me.
Still you.
Yeah, so I wanted to add this bit here because I am very much aware of toxins again because of this journey I've had. And whenever you fall pregnant and you go and see a healthcare professional, they always tell you what you cannot eat, what you cannot drink, you cannot smoke, whatever. No one tells you about all of these names that you can see there. That actually can impact us, our fertility journey, and also when you get pregnant, and they can be passed through to the baby. Most of these things can be found in things like beauty products, cleaning products, food and drink packaging, and so on. So it's endless when you look at it. But I think it's important to note it, not freaking out anyone that will be watching this. We are always learning, and we are always on a journey. But actually the Environmental Working Group considered all of those ones as toxic as cigarettes and alcohol. So why aren't we letting people know about this, is my question. And there is a study as well, as you can see that early prenatal exposure to suspected endocrine disruptors is associated with lower IQ at age 7. So this was one of the studies, but there is many, many more. Again, I'm not going to go much into depth into any of these, as we need to be very brief and concise. But it's just an idea that there is more things you can think about and look when you are in this journey. And anytime you are more than welcome to message me if you want more information about that as well.
Yeah, I think you're spot on because, like you say, Angela, we very much give out lists of, this is a really good pram, or this is a good, there's so many lists of so many things, your birth bag list, and there's so many things, but nobody, not one person, even as a midwife, ever helped me to understand that I should be advising women about this kind of information. So I'm really glad that was put in there because it's really, really key information, isn't it, for people? You know, like you say, meet yourself where you're at and don't be overwhelmed by it, but you can't do anything about it if you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So the key questions that I've been asked frequently around essential oil use in pregnancy have been frequently to do with these kind of main three categories, really. So are essential oils safe to use in pregnancy? We'll discuss that. How can I use the oils when I'm pregnant? Because if you have been in doTERRA or know of doTERRA oils for a little while, because of their purity, there are some oils that you can take internally. So that's a question that I get asked a lot as well. And then we are going to discuss some recommendations. So first of all, safety. So when we talk about safety, what we're really talking about is risk. So the risk of harm to yourself or to the unborn baby. And there is nobody more invested than that baby's parents to that baby's well-being. No matter what healthcare professionals might tell you, you are the most invested person in that baby's world. And so it's basically, it's not passing the buck, it's offering you the opportunity to hold really true personal responsibility for what goes onto your body, into your environment. And that can also mean, you know, the people that you spend time with, etc. But what we're talking about in terms of essential oils is the risk of harm to the unborn baby. And the really important reason to have this conversation is that risk is very personal. So if you got told that the risk of harm from, say, a procedure when you were pregnant was 1 in 1,000, some people might think that that was way too risky and they were not willing to go down that route. Or other people might think, actually, my risk is pretty low. So that's what we have to take responsibility for, is how we genuinely feel within our bodies about the things that we're going to discuss today. So how do we determine safety, particularly when, certainly with medications, you know, regular medications, etc., they are not routinely tested on pregnant people, pregnant bodies, and, you know, in utero babies, because it's very unethical to do that. We cannot and should not be testing any medicines or anything on babies and mothers that are pregnant because of the potential risk of harm until we know kind of otherwise. But what we can rely on quite strongly, and certainly with the use of essential oils, is anecdotal evidence. So that's evidence from people that have kind of gone before. Now, as you're probably aware, essential oils have been around for thousands of years. And so we have quite documented history, even though it's anecdotal, of use of oils over time, especially, you know, and including around people that are pregnant. So what we need to do is take on board education, either from somebody like myself or from Angela, somebody who can guide maybe with research, if that is what you want to know about. But also we can educate ourselves. We can speak to other people that have been pregnant, that have used oils, and we have to guide ourselves in our choices around that. And then, you know, we talk about use, but just using oil sensibly. You're not going, even if you're happy to take essential oils internally when you are pregnant, you're certainly not going to go down the route of taking 20 drops of oil a day, because that is way too much. Essential oils do cross the placenta, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, essential oils don't work in the same way that medications do, and it's really important for you to remember that. So if we had a drug for blood pressure, for example, whoever that medication was given to, regardless of whether or not they had high blood pressure, it would lower that person's blood pressure. However, if you were using lemon oil, for example, as one of the oils to lower your blood pressure, if you didn't have a blood pressure problem, it wouldn't interact in your body in that same way. So that's one of the kind of almost like safety features of essential oils, is that we know that we can utilize them and they will work with our body synergistically. Obviously, as I've talked about before, if you are using essential oils, it's important for you to understand dose and dilution, but because we're using a pure product from doTERRA, it's much more it's much easier to be able to dilute in a way that feels effective and appropriate for us personally, because we know that the starting product that we've got, those essential oils, are completely pure. As I said on the previous slide, very few prescription drugs are tested on pregnant women. But we can also, all or most synthetic drugs that are now made up of the kind of market of the medications that you'll get from the GP are based on old plant material kind of recipes almost, and they're made up of carbons and hydrogens and oxygens, and our bodies chemically, physically, are made up of those same things. So our bodies recognize them, they know how to utilize them, and they don't see them often as anywhere near the kind of threat as they would if you were taking prescription drugs. Okay,
Yeah.
Angela.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so saying all of these, essential oils are very reliable. Why is that? Why do they work? Especially ours. It's all to do with their purity and the way we source the essential oils. So our essential oils are sourced from where they natively grew. So they have properties within it that are effective. And talking about purity, what I have to say is doTERRA, I think, probably is, the only company I know that does all of these tests. So they do 2 in-house testing to test the purity of the oils, and then a third-party testing as well. And you can actually check each bottle that it has a batch number, and you can go to a website and actually check exactly what is within that bottle. And that makes it efficient, that makes it work. But also what doTERRA has been able to do is consistently creating the same amounts of these different chemicals within the bottles, so that then they can say it's therapeutic grade, like pretty much working as a tablet in a way, that you always have kind of the same dosages in that bottle. So it's not like, oh, sometimes I've got 3% of, pure essential oils, sometimes I've got 95. So that's how we regulate things, and how we make it work and reliable for everyone, and efficient at the end of the day. And these made us actually being able to use just a very small amount of the oil. We normally say, especially in pregnancy and babies, less is more, and it works in the same way. You don't need more just to have other side effects. So, but also I need to add here that because there is a lot of companies out there that say, they are pure and so on. Actually, for them to be labeled as pure, they only have to have 5% of the essential oil. So all the rest of it, the 95%, can be synthetic fragrance, carrier oils, or even other things that are even worse. Yeah, and also we've got the most in-house scientists working, so we are always developing new things and creating new ways to improve our well-being. And that's what I love about doTERRA, is that when a product is released, and if it's not up to what they expect it to be, they don't put it out in the market. So yeah, we recently had that with some capsules, some turmeric capsules, I believe. And because it wasn't as expected, when they tested it, they didn't release it. So it's out of stock at the moment. Yeah, but that makes it believe that is reliable and pure, and makes it safe to use, specifically in pregnancy and babies.
Absolutely, because when you're using oils on your baby, you really want to know exactly what's in there, don't you? You don't want to be having any guesswork. So using oils in pregnancy. Now, internal use. You may have used essential oils prior to being a pregnant person for years, and you know how your body responds well to oils internally. You know that if you have a couple of drops of lemon and water in your, lemon oil in your water in the morning, you feel really great. And you might have had a couple of soft gels, or you've dropped some oils under your tongue, or taken them in a capsule for a variety of reasons. So as Angela said, less is definitely more when you're pregnant, that your body will respond really effectively because there's a lot of things going on in your body. You've got a higher blood volume, your heart is beating harder, your heart grows. So there's a lot of activity that means that a little bit of oil will still do the same job. However, one of the things that I've always kind of spoken about with people is if you have not used essential oils internally prior to becoming pregnant, I don't believe now is the time to start using them. Entirely your choice, but just because essential oils do cross the placenta, they do go into breast milk, we need to feel into like how we personally feel about those things. And if you haven't had experience prior to pregnancy of using oils internally, I'm not entirely certain that it's the best time to start. But again, it's personal preference and personal choice, and you need to make that decision. Having said that, the Copaiba soft gels are beautifully safe, like just the most gorgeous product. I'm absolutely in love with the CP Plus soft gels, and they are incredibly safe during pregnancy and breastfeeding, and so definitely can be used for discomfort, for pain, and can be used in the immediate term afterwards. We will get to that, but I just wanted to make a special mention of those particular soft gels.
Yeah, so now to the topical use is another way of using essential oils. But I must say that our skin is our biggest organ. And when we think about topical use and essential oils, we must not forget that anything else we put on our skin is being absorbed as well. And that counts as, skincare products, but laundry detergents, perfumes, anything else. So that is something to be aware of when we talk about topical use. Saying that, ways to use it topically. So obviously applying to the skin, doing a nice massage. You can use it localized for pain or discomfort as well. Throughout pregnancy, I certainly use it many times for my lower back pain and hip pains. We can add it to some bath salts as well. And talking about all of those toxic chemicals I've mentioned before, and knowing that these are on all our skincare products as well, and laundry, etc. There is ways we can do it with essential oils as well. There's ways you can make your own products, but also doTERRA is amazing in this way because they offer a whole range of things that are low tox and you can use directly if you don't want to be doing it yourself. Saying that, I found that essential oils were very comforting during all my journey, pregnancy, applying them, massaging them before bedtime, but also just as well, to apply to my skin as a pure form. Yeah, and again, important to remember everything that touches the skin is absorbed by the skin, and we need to take that into consideration. And always diluting to appropriately. So with a carrier oil, like fractionated coconut oil.
And then finally, we come to the last of the three ways of using essential oils. And by the way, just to go back to internal use, I'm just going to re-highlight that I would only ever recommend internal use of doTERRA essential oils because of the purity. And obviously it's not all of the essential oils, you can't take all of them internally, but I would absolutely not recommend any off-the-shelf brand at all, as Angela has mentioned, because of that purity element. So I just wanted to reiterate that. So aromatic use, I think this is possibly one of the most beautiful ways to navigate a pregnancy. So when we inhale essential oil, whether that's from dropping an oil in our hand, whether that's in a diffuser, in something like bath salts, etc., or rollerballs, a variety of different ways that we can use to inhale that scent, that beautiful, pure essential oil. Whenever we inhale, it goes to the limbic part of our brain, our limbic system. And this is the oldest part of our brain. Now, in everyday life, the limbic part of our brain is actually, because it's one of the most primal parts of our brain, it's actually switched off a lot of the time. Not switched off, but it's just not the most used part of our brain. We use our neocortex, the part at the front of our head, and different parts of our brain. But when we are in labor, because we need to go to a place where the kind of wavelength that we're working at physically changes, we have to go to a place where everything around us has to feel safe and it has to feel supportive, because we need to go to this really primal place. Our limbic system actually is the most switched on part of our brain during labor. And so if we can link that old primal part of our brain with essential oil use and inhaling essential oils, we have a really amazing combination to start to support anchoring of feelings. So what we don't want to start to do is trying to anchor something calming when we feel really stressed. That just doesn't work. We will stay stressed. But when we are in a calm state and we're meditating, we're doing hypnobirthing practices, all of those sorts of beautiful things, affirmation cards, etc. When we're in that space, we can create an oil blend for ourselves that really takes us into almost like an otherworldly zone of calm and nervous system regulation, and supporting us to rest and settle. Because when we are in labor, if we have used that enough during our pregnancy, our body, with that smell, that essential oil smell, that combination, it will remember, and it will immediately take us back to that point. We don't have to try to do that, it will just do it. And that is one of the most beautiful ways that you can use essential oils anyway. I think generally aromatic use is one of my favorite ways to use essential oils, just because of how incredible they are in those ways. However, obviously, when we are during pregnancy, we might need support with our sleep. So again, we create that pattern, or we might need to get ourselves into a phase where we need to wake up, and so we're using peppermint oil and mood regulation as well. Just the general uses that we would use our essential oils aromatically, but there's just this whole other beautiful layer that comes into them when we're talking about being pregnant and going into kind of the birthing space. So this is kind of over 2 slides, but I will explain. So the only oils that I would ever suggest to avoid completely during the pregnancy is wintergreen, jasmine, and clary sage. Jasmine and clary sage are believed to kind of be, I can't remember the word for it now, but basically they stimulate the uterus. And so we want to avoid that. There isn't actually any evidence anywhere that any essential oil has actually been responsible for creating miscarriages and that kind of thing. So just going back to what we were saying about risk, it's about you educating and understanding from your own standpoint, from your own perspective, how you feel. But wintergreen is one that I would never recommend to anybody in pregnancy. And I will come into the deep blue blend in a minute. Wintergreen works in a very similar way to ibuprofen. When you are pregnant, you do not want to take ibuprofen. The baby's heart, when the baby is inside mum's tummy, the circulation is actually in reverse. Very, very clever. So the veins hold the oxygenated blood, and the arteries hold the deoxygenated blood. And there is a distinct hole. So you'll have heard people say they were born with a hole in the heart. Everybody in utero has a hole in the heart. When the baby is born and they take their first breath, that hole closes. And so the circulation then reroutes, and that is then the lungs take over from oxygenation, and then therefore we carry on. However, there is evidence that women who have used either wintergreen oil and or ibuprofen, it has started to close that hole prior to the baby being born. Obviously, we don't want that to happen. So that is the sole recommendation for wintergreen. Absolutely do not use that when you're pregnant. But basically everything else we can use. However, this list on the right, the oils to dilute well, you'll notice some of those are in blends that we might recommend when you're pregnant. So Zengest, for example, has that kind of aniseed and fennel. Oregano, lemongrass, you know, they're all oils that are useful for infections, or lemongrass is incredible for ligament support. I know so many people who've used lemongrass when they're pregnant because their ligaments and their tendons, you know, kind of that just tuck underneath where their big pregnant belly sits, become very uncomfortable. And so what I want to show you on the following slide is that although these are oils that look like they could potentially be quote unquote dangerous, so long as we dilute them appropriately, they are actually incredibly effective and are safe to use. So this, it's not a very good slide. I couldn't get it any bigger, unfortunately. But what you can see here, so this is from a research paper that I linked on the previous slide, and I can send people the paper.
No, the slide hasn't moved forward for me.
Oh, has it not?
Oh, there it goes. There we go.
Has it done? Yeah, perfect. That's great. Can you can see it like a framed box?
Yeah, I can see it now. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. So you'll see along the side, there's the essential oil at the top, and there's anise or aniseed, and then there's lemongrass. And I chose those two particularly. So what you can see here, I'm hopeful you can see the blue dot, is that with aniseed, the hazard this was a paper that was looking at essential oil use in pregnancy. The hazard is that it is a reproductive hormone modulator. What that means is it will try to get the body to just regulate hormones in the way that it needs to. Now, the perception is that this could be really dangerous in pregnancy because what it'll try to do is take the body to its original pre-pregnant state. But actually, again, I said hormones, essential oils don't work in the same way that medications do. So what this will do is actually just be fine in pregnancy. But what we don't want to do is overuse an essential oil like this. So if you have Zengest, for example, which has got the tiniest amount of aniseed in anyway, but then obviously it's amongst other essential oils, and you'll only be using probably 1 drop, it is completely safe to use in pregnancy in that kind of way. So this means here basically not very good things. So this is lemongrass oil, and this means that it's kind of toxic to the growing baby. However, again, this, like, I'm just going to repeat, this is a paper that looked at essential oil use of people who were pregnant using essential oils. And down here, one of the reasons that I love this paper so much is here it says there is a maximum internal oral dose in pregnancy of 46 milligrams per day based on this content of lemongrass. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of how much is 46 milligrams, etc. But what this should indicate to you is that even though we have this word that means kind of toxicity to baby, what we also have here is that it can be used internally, even in spite of this. So it's just to kind of give you an indicator that even though it looks on paper sometimes that essential oils could be quite dangerous, so long as they are used in really good diluted appropriate amounts, we are not going to harm baby. Like I say, the only one that I would absolutely not recommend in pregnancy is wintergreen. Jasmine and clary sage you can use towards the end of the pregnancy, so long as you have a healthy pregnancy and there's no risk of rupturing the uterus or any such from a previous cesarean section. So I hope that's clear. I can take questions on that at the end, but I hope that's kind of giving you a bit more of an understanding of where we're coming from with that. So recommendations, the last section. The first trimester, most of the experiences that women have during this time is around pregnancy sickness, not wanting to eat, they're struggling to sleep, they might be feeling anxious. So the top 6 there: lemon, ginger, zengest, cardamom, peppermint, and wild orange. Now, I wouldn't really recommend taking cardamom internally unless you have used it before, but the rest of them you can. But also, they have incredible benefits, like I say, just from inhaling them from your hands or from a diffuser. And they are incredible support for nauseous feelings and for when you're feeling sick. Lavender and frankincense, again, excuse me, for anxiety, for sleep support, anything like that, and adaptive imbalance for the exact same reasons, just to really help down regulate our nervous system. Supplement wise, Metapower Advantage, I think everybody should take this anyway, because I absolutely love this product. But we don't pay enough attention certainly in the UK to our diet. We really underestimate how much protein we need. And collagen is the most abundant protein in our body. And when we're growing a whole of the human, we need a bit more, and we don't pay enough attention to that. And it's certainly not the dietary advice that is given out when you first visit your midwife. So I would recommend all pregnant women take Metapower Advantage every day, because it will support not only the growing baby, their ligaments, etc., their joints, their bone health, but also it will support your veins, so that hopefully you'll stand less of a chance of kind of getting varicose veins and having those kind of problems. And then Lifelong Vitality, for those of you that don't know, Lifelong Vitality is just an amazing trio of a multivitamin. And you would need to add more folate and eat choline-rich foods. It doesn't have choline in it, but choline is very easily found in eggs. And then it has an omega supplement for it, which is incredible for kind of brain health. And then it has an antioxidant element to it as well, which helps just support your body and inflammation and regulation of all of your body systems. It's an incredible combo. So I don't know if people want to take photos of the recipes that we've put on. We have put a few on further down, but do bear in mind as well that this will be available to watch in the event cafe. And I think, did you say, Dot, as well, that you'll be able to kind of download some of the individual slides?
I can put the individual slides in the My Event Cafe space. So where you registered for the call and got the Zoom link, yeah, cool. I can put them in there. Yeah,
great. Lovely, thank you. So this is just a belly balm to start using from the get-go. We are going to rattle on, and then this is Angela.
Thank you, Jo. I just want to add something there with the Metapower and the protein. What I actually found was, if I was having an adequate amount of protein, I had less nausea. And I think actually one of the recommendations from nutrition point of view is that you should have a great amount of protein at the end of the day, so that in the morning you're not feeling sick. So I think this pairs beautifully with that.
Yeah, that's
especially
really
for the first trimester as well.
Yeah.
So second trimester is when we start becoming a bit bigger, and we start having some more discomforts and pains and ligaments. So all of these oils we've got here, lemongrass, deep blue, copaiba, they are beautiful to support that. I love to have my deep blue rub all over me all the time. Also the copaiba soft gels are great support for pain. And the lemongrass, as Jo has explained, in terms of the ligaments as well. The other thing I found I was having quite a lot was some headaches. And for that, I combined frankincense on the top of my roof, peppermint, and a past tense blend as well, that I really like to apply on the back of my neck. And then some other oils that are very supportive, like rosemary. Serenity is really good for nighttime as well, when you start to becoming a bit more restless at night. And cypress will support with that as well, especially restless legs. Talking about so as mentioned as well, the Serenity soft gels and the Copaiba soft gels, but also the 3Es. So this is the blend of lemon, lavender, and peppermint, and it's just wonderful for any kind of histamine. So eye fever, things like that. the sun came out just recently. And as soon as the sun comes out, I start having some hay fever symptoms. I only took it one soft gel one day. And it's all gone. So that's how I support myself. And it's all, yeah. Yeah, that's, yeah. I suppose our bodies are all over the place, but they are trying to, they are so clever, aren't they? They just try to make us so efficient that sometimes I think certain things slid away. That's, yeah, like this. But yeah, that's how I've combined. I'm going to share a recipe that actually was created by Joe now. And it's a beautiful recipe, anchoring blend. So you'll have frankincense that is very calming, but also helps release any negativity, any trauma, and it helps us deepen our spiritual connection as well. You've got myrrh, which is a sacred oil. It's the grandmother oil, all about maternal connection, feeling safe, grounded, and trusting in our bodies. Bergamot, which is known for releasing self-doubt and judgment. So it to me as well will support my body, feeling capable and worthy of what I'm going through. And then we've got patchouli. This oil helps create a deeper connection with our physical body and help us to feel confident and calm and present within us. Ylang ylang is one of my favorites. It really is, and I still use it now very often. It is powerful for emotional healing, and it connects us to our intuition. So it helps us to feel and trust our intuition, and I'm very connected to it. And I must say here as well, whenever you use anything in all your life, but I felt a really deep connection through my pregnancy. I actually, in the beginning, I wasn't using many oils, and that was what my body was telling me. And I just went with it. And I think that's essential. You need to follow what your body tells you. Yeah, but ylang ylang is wonderful. And then Roman chamomile, again, another calming oil, helps with guided, peaceful, and connecting to a purpose in our life in this time, the pregnancy and growing a baby. And then lime, so for some zestiness, promotes courage, determination, and cleanses the heart. So all of those combined in a blend, in a roller ball. We diluted appropriately, like the drops you can see here with fractionated coconut oil is, again, very useful to use through meditation, when you're doing your positive birth visualizations, your hypnobirthing, your cards, whenever you use it, because then your brain will recognize it. And again, you can then use it during labor as well, just to anchor and to connect within yourself, and make you feel and believe that you can do this and feel calm and trust yourself. So it's a beautiful brand. I love that Joe created this because it makes so much sense. Thank you, Joe.
Oh, thanks, Angela. That's lovely. That means an awful lot. Thank you. Then finally, third trimester. So the essential oils that you can use at this point, once you have got to 37 weeks or beyond, if you do not have a complicated pregnancy, so by that I mean you haven't had a previous C-section, the baby is not showing small for dates, or there's any other kind of issues with the placenta, for example, then you can start to use clary sage after 37 weeks. Zengest, for anybody who's been pregnant, that by the end of your pregnancy, your baby's up here and there's not very much room for your tummy, and you can feel really quite bloated, a lot of kind of digestive discomfort, even after not eating all that much, to be honest. So Zengest and peppermint are incredible for that. Roman chamomile, frankincense, geranium, sandalwood, calming, soothing, beautiful, beautiful oils, incredible skin oils, just to kind of go back to the belly balm, and just like bringing you to a place of kind of real peace and settling into what lies ahead, going towards the birth, etc. So again, digestive tabs, I didn't have them because doTERRA didn't exist when I was pregnant, when I had my babies, but I would have used them, the Zengest digest tabs. and perineal massage. So Roman chamomile, frankincense, geranium, sandalwood, even oils like maybe helichrysum, etc., are incredible as a very diluted combination to use for perineal massage. So I'm not going to get into what that is because that will take a bit of time, but if you want any more information about that, do not hesitate to contact me. So this is a general massage blend. So you can see it's got clary sage, black pepper, geranium, jasmine and frankincense, because this is for when you are either 39 weeks onwards or in labor. And you can use it on the inner ankles, you can use it on the lower back. However, if you are wanting to have some sort of combination of oils, but your pregnancy has ended up feeling or being a little bit more complicated, you can just omit the clary sage and jasmine and still use the black pepper, the geranium and the frankincense, which will be incredible support for kind of back pain, easing tension and that sort of thing. And then Angela has a recipe for magnesium spray just at the end of pregnancy. So it's magnesium flakes, cool bottled water, half and half, and then just add a couple of drops of lavender and cypress essential oils. And also, you know, cypress is really great for varicose veins if you have them, etc. So yes, incredible recipes there. Okay, Angela.
Yeah, it doesn't pass through the slides.
Oh, sorry, it's just obviously got a bit of a lag. It will come. It's a birth slide. It's
yeah,
that
the
one.
birth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, for birth, I've done like a little bottle with different essential oils, like a blend to put on the diffuser. So instead of during labor thinking, oh, I need to put 2 drops of this, 2 drops of that. So I created a little bottle with the right dilutions, and then I just put it on the diffuser. And here are some of the oils that are quite good in terms of, again, anchoring and feeling connected in the moment, but also very grounding and calming, like wild orange and balance. Then again, deep blue, marjoram, copaiba, ginger, black pepper, lavender, and frankincense. They can all be very supportive for pain. So again, I've made a blend and I diluted on I think it was 100 ml bottle with a carrier oil just to massage and apply, but you can use it in different ways as well. And also then obviously clary sage, ylang ylang, jasmine, so during birth, if you can. Again, there is this stuff, like Joe said, that it can promote the contractions. I think that's it.
Sorry,
I found it very powerful.
The slide still hasn't moved, Joe. It's still on.
Oh, has it not?
I bet now it says birth.
Okay. I don't know why. That took a long time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was talking about the same. So yeah. Where was I? Yeah, so I did actually find clary sage very powerful to bring up my contractions. And I remember just putting 1 or 2 drops in like a flannel and they ramping out very quickly. But also peppermint, very good when I was actually sick during labor. I found it very effective as well.
Brilliant. Right, I'll move the slide on and let me know if you can.
Yeah.
If you can moved.
So again, this is another recipe. You can have a look. I think we have to flick through because the time is
yeah, absolutely, we do.
passing by, so people cannot watch it again. But again, this blend was again done by Joe. Very grounding, calming oils, but as well a bit of uplifting with a citrus oil like grapefruit, and the spearmint is a very gentle way of a pick-me-up instead of the powerful of peppermint. So this is a beautiful one as well to put on.
Yeah, this was an oil that particularly if I'd worked night shifts and I was really groggy and really tired, I would put this on the morning, and it was kind of like a caffeine hit, but without the caffeine. It was just gentle enough to kind of bring me around and make me really present. And so really good for kind of transitioning points in labor. Can you see this slide, guys? Yeah. Immediately postnatal, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to touch on this one, or do
yep. No, go for it.
Yeah, so again, immediately postnatally, you can use, again, these are in terms of the pain to support you with any pain afterwards as well. I found jasmine particularly good after birth to help my uterus to recover. And then again, the Copaiba and Copaiba soft gels, and also the deep blue polyphenols, which again is a blend of just natural oils, and instead of having to take, you know, morphines, etc., etc. Yeah. Now just very quickly, some oils for baby immediately after birth. I found what I've done was applying frankincense on the top of the crown and spine, just to offer some protection to my baby, and also as a bonding with baby. And I kept using for a few days. Myrrh, again, the mother, the grandmother oil, it's actually very useful on the umbilical cord to help seal and protect all the organs, but we must not forget the phases of the normal, you know, how the cord falls out, you know, and all those changes of colors, and that needs to go through that gangrenial process to fall. Balance, the grounding blend, I love to apply it to the soles of the feet, and Melissa as well to the feet, just as you know, it is known to be DNA repairing, but also to me, I felt it very good to help the baby transition into that phase from the experience of being in utero to outside, and experiencing all the feelings, all the emotions, all the thoughts that sometimes even when I was doubting or I was scared, or, you know, that's eventually passed through the baby, and Melissa is beautiful to support the baby in that way. So I think that was the ones I used immediately after for baby. Yeah, and then we've got some recipes. Again, we're just going to flick through them, I think.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll flick through these, I think, and then people can have the screenshots or the tiles that Doc can download. So we've got colic relief here, a nappy rash spray. Angela is the absolute DIY queen. We've got a first baby balm, so just if baby's skin is a little bit dry and baby needs some support. Nipple balm, incredible for mum. And
I must say, this is a must. Everyone must do that if they are pregnant, because these
nipple balm.
Yeah, the nipple balm. I've never seen something like that.
No.
I've used different ones on my first pregnancy. Yeah.
And what I will say about nipple balms and different products that you can buy is don't buy anything that is lanolin based, because it actually causes blocked ducts around the nipple area, which obviously is painful. It can potentially lead to mastitis as well. So just avoid those kind of things. Perineal spray immediately afterwards, great for spraying either directly onto your perineum or onto pads to put in the fridge or the freezer, just to cool everything down and support healing and inflammation in that way. Hemorrhoid balm for those who are unfortunate enough to end up with hemorrhoids. And so we have here the kits that we would recommend that you started with if you do not have oils yet, or if you're supporting people in this journey. So if you are at the stage that Angela was, right at the very beginning, where pregnancy is maybe a bit elusive, and or you're just wanting to support your body in the run up to becoming pregnant, then you can use the Cleanse and Restore kit. You can add a little bottle of lemon oil in there, and you have an incredible kit that will nurture your body and really kind of bring it back to a good state of health. The Home Essentials kit, a lot of the oils that we've talked about today are found. So you've got Zengest, you've got frankincense, there's lavender, deep blue, a number of oils in there that are incredibly supportive for all of pregnancy and labor and immediately afterwards as well. Tea trees in there for like infection purposes, and you get a beautiful diffuser with the Home Essentials kit. Or if you're wanting to kind of maybe adjust your kit a little bit, you could go for the Family Essentials kit, which is like a kind of travel size. It's like a 5 ml bottle version of the same core 10 oils in the Home Essentials kit, but it's in 5 mls rather than 15 as the Home Essentials kit is. But what you can also then add in for a similar kind of price is to add in the geranium, some copaiba and some Roman chamomile that will support you with a lot of the blends that we've suggested today, and just are incredible for use for women generally outside of pregnancy anyway. Ta-da! 2 minutes to go.
2 minutes to go. Well done. It was a race to the finish. Guys, that was absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, Joe and Angela. Like, literally mind blowing. For everyone who's on the live, if you stay on, we're going to stop the recording in a minute and we can have a Q&A with Joe and Angela. But just before I wrap up the recording, just to say thank you both so much incredible wisdom and information shared, all information I wish I'd known when I was pregnant, but I didn't have oils, but thank God I knew about perineal massage. I put it in the chat. I think that was the way that I was able to birth my 10-pound 11-ounce baby with no tears. But yeah,
well, that and also just believing in yourself, Dot, you know, that goes a long way.
Yes, maybe. But this was truly an incredible session and so valuable. So thank you both so much. We do have another webinar happening this week on Thursday, looking at trauma and the womb space, which I think is going to be a really fascinating one. Just to say, whenever you're watching this, if you're on the live or if you're watching this on a replay at some point, if any of this is interesting to you, just reach out to the person who shared the summit with you and they will be able to tap you into everything. They'll be able to send you a link to purchase a kit if you haven't already got one, and they'll be able to signpost you in the direction of all of their own team resources and trainings and things. But yeah, just, and if you do also have any questions, just you can also reach out to us, but probably just reach up to the person who sent you the recording. And yeah, come along, join us on Thursday. I'm going to stop the recording now, but yeah, like I said, do stay on if you're here for the Q&A.